Hello and welcome back to my channel. We are just gonna take a peek at my what I've read so far this year. Yeah, this is almost the end of the year. I think I've talked a little bit about what I've read, but not like a ton. So I did buy the Calava Plan book planner from last year, or for 2024. But I ended up not using the weekly pages really. So I just kind of used her review pages. I really enjoyed those. And then I also use a mini like bullet journal. It's like this big. It's very tiny. And then I also started, I was trying to doing different things in hopes to figure out what I wanted to do for next year. But I also used like a bullet journal for my reading journal. But it's definitely not what other people have done. It's way more symbolized. But I thought just going through my book reviews would be the easiest option for us today. I haven't filled in all the reviews just because I did a lot of like back planning and things like that. But yeah, so at the beginning of the year, I read A Little Magic. That was my first book. I know we're like 10 months in, guys, so oh, bunny. There's little bunnies that like live in our yard and I see them running around constantly and it just like makes me so happy. But yeah, I believe I'm up to 28 books this year, 28 or 29. So getting there. But yeah, so I'm not entirely sure how to go about this. So the review pages just look like this. So you get the title, author, genre, recommended by, start date, end date, rating, my review, and then just some notes. And then you can also add a picture up here. I've been using the recommended by. I've just been putting in how many pages it is because that's how I don't really keep track of who recommends me books, especially because most of the time I just stumble upon them on the internet or something, or, you know, I work next to a Barnes & Noble, so I frequent the bookstore and kind of walk around to figure out what I might be interested in next. But yeah, so book pages, my notes, I usually just put like a quote or two that I really enjoyed. And then just like a quick review. Start date has been a little rough. I haven't really kept track of when I'm starting them, more so when I finish them. But yeah. So we had A Little Magic. I gave it 3.5 stars. I remember this book being really cute. I didn't like her family. I remember that. She's sick and she ends up falling in love with her brother's best friend growing up. And yeah, they kind of stumble back together and it's really sweet. You get some current days and then some days from when they were growing up, and that was really cute. So I did quite enjoy that one. It was a nice like Christmassy New Year book. And then we have Final Offer. This was, why does that cover look like that? Oh no, this is book 2. That's why. So, yeah, so this is book 2 in the series. Or no, book 3. I'm sorry. Book 3. This is book 3 in the series. I did quite like it. It was a little bit emotional at times. But yeah, I read her entire, these are the only books I've read by Lauren Asher. I liked the first one the most. It's, sorry, I didn't even tell you about the book. It's like a Disney land-esque book. So this family owns like a fairy tale place and a theme park. And so the grandpa dies. And each grandson, there's 3, each grandson has to do or like complete a task before they get their like portion of the business and things like that. And so this is the third one in the series, and I liked the first one the most. I read that last year, but this one wasn't too bad. It was a little bit more emotional than the other ones, I would say. I don't know if that was just, alcoholism is a huge part in this, and so yeah, it was a little bit more emotional than I was expecting. Falling in love with yourself is 10 times harder than falling in love with someone else. So I just really liked that quote. This video is going to be long, I feel like. I'll try to go quicker. Behind the Net, just like a rom-com, hockey romance. It was fine. Honestly, even 3 stars I feel like is a bit much. There's parts where I just had to like push through. They had crushes on each other back in high school. She ended up landing a job being his like personal assistant, and then they fall in love and yada yada. Catherine Center, the bodyguard. She is a bodyguard to him. She like gets hired to be his bodyguard. And they like pretend date for his family, so his family doesn't think that there's anything going on. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a nice middle ground kind of read. Not bad, but not a 5-star. It wasn't. I remember enjoying it though. There was parts that I wasn't expecting in it, for it being a romance, but it was good. I think I do want to read more of her books, to see if I like more of them. A Fate of Wrath and Flame. This was on my TBR for a very, very long time. And I finally like tried to read it, and I was like, I'm just going to get the audiobook. I love K.A. Tucker. I love her. I literally have a quote from one of her books in her handwriting on my arm. So I'm a dedicated Tucker fan, but I don't know. This was not it for me. I was very confused at parts. It's a romantasy. Fantasy and romance. Isn't that what it's called? A romantasy? Oh, this pin's not good. Uh-oh. Romantasy. And I just did not enjoy it. It was such a bummer for me. If I didn't listen to the audio, I probably would not have finished it fully. But yeah. Such a bummer for me. I couldn't really follow the story very well. I don't know if it's also because I listened to the audiobook that it was a little bit more confusing for me. Because it's fantasy, but it was like different realms and just wasn't for me. Yeah. And then we have Meet Your Baker by Ellie Alexander. I want to love cozy mystery so bad. I've read a lot of them this year. I want to enjoy them so bad. I also feel like I should number these. Don't we think? I wish I had number stickers, because I don't always like my handwriting. Could do like color. No. Why am I like stressing myself out right now? Shoot, I don't have any. Where are my like black pens? Huh. Okay. Well, maybe we won't number things, because I can't find any like. Oh, maybe this one. What size is this? I think it's a 0.38. Uh-oh. That's okay. I really wish I just had like a bunch of numbers. I guess we'll just do here. So 1, this was 2, and then if I get numbered stickers, I can always put them over. This was 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Okay. Meet Your Baker. First book in the series. First book I read by her. It did take me a couple times to like get into it before I finally read the whole thing. It was a cute, cozy mystery. It was good. Just was not the end. I don't know. It just didn't have like, it just kind of like ended. It was like, oh, there, just wrapped it up with a little bow at the end. But it was okay. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't a 4-star either. So there we are. Cozy mysteries also make me sleepy. So there's that. So 6, 7, 8. Okay. Exception to the rule. I freaking loved this book. It was so good. Like I said, it's a meet cute. It's like I think it was the girl. She emails her teacher on Valentine's Day it was like about a paper or something. But she emailed the wrong person. And so it went to another student. And so every year it became a thing where they like would message each other on Valentine's Day. And over time they started giving each other more and more info about themselves. But it was like no names, no pictures kind of a thing. Until one day they actually meet. And yeah, it was just really freaking cute. I enjoyed it so much. It's like one of those books that I would probably reread again, especially because it's so short. But yeah, I loved it. Murder in the Family. I wanted to like this. The idea of the book is amazing. It's wrote in like a script form, essentially. So it's like the whole book is written out as if it's like a script for a movie. And I just didn't like it. I don't know what to say. There was there was a ton of characters, and it wasn't for me. I hope the ending caught me off guard. I didn't expect what actually happened, but it just wasn't for me. The Enforcer by Avery Keelan. Again, just kind of okay. It's another hockey romance. Yeah, it just needed something. There wasn't anything keeping me reading it. There wasn't anything making me like necessarily interested in what was going on in the story. Yeah. So, let's see. It says, I spent 2 years convincing myself what we had wasn't real, and the moment our eyes locked from across the room, all those lies I've been telling myself shatter at my feet. Let's see. Now life just slap-shot me in the face. A senior internship with Nash's team. And guess... Okay, yes. She is... They dated a long time ago. And now in college, she is in class to be a... what do you call it? Like massage therapist, like not a massage therapist, like a sports medicine. Yeah, in sports medicine, and he's a hockey player. Well, she gets assigned to his team. And so it's them reconnecting, falling back in love. But it was just a lot of mush and not much drama happening in it. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. I don't read very many autobiographies or really nonfiction in general. But this one, I did listen to it on audiobook. I figured that would be easier for me to kind of like get through it and see if I actually really enjoy them. It broke my heart though. Like her mom was not good. her childhood was rough, and I genuinely just felt so bad for her through the entire book. And I just hope she's doing well and happy. And yeah. Fern Michaels Hidden. This one was a mystery. It's too ghosty for me. Too like, not ghosty, but like paranormal for me. It sounded really good. It just wasn't. At least for me. I've heard really good things about Fern Michaels, so I was like into it. But it's like her brother restores furniture, and she like helps run the shop and a cafe and stuff. And it was like three different groups of people, and how they all kind of entwined together in the end, and solving like a mystery of like this guy's passing and his kid trying to like get all of his money. And I don't know, some people might like it. The paranormal stuff is what got me. I'm not a ghost story person, so it really wasn't my thing. I haven't added any quotes for a lot of these. Yeah, and then Funny Story by Emily Henry. I have given 5 stars to every single Emily Henry book I've ever read. I freaking love her books. I need her to come out with more for me to devour. So this is, okay, so he's in a relationship, she's in a relationship, different people. The people they're in relationships with, though, the guy and girl are best friends. Well, at his bachelor, she is engaged to get married. At the bachelor party, the best friend confesses how in love she is with him, and so he goes home and dumps his fiance. Well, everything is in his name. It's his house, it's his money. So she lives in this town where she doesn't really know anybody because she moved to be with him. And she works in the library. And yeah, so she moves in for temporary with the other guy that just got dumped by the best friend. So, the 2 exes end up moving in together, and he's like, let me show you how great this town can be. And then they ended up running into their exes, and so they pretend to be in love and, end up falling in love. But yeah, I loved it. It was so good. Loved it. And then we read The Dixon Rule. Elle Kennedy, I very much enjoy her books. This is a spinoff of like a spinoff. So she has her original like hockey series. I think it's like 5 books. And I loved that series. And then she did like some of the side characters from those series. And now these are like the kids and kids' friends of the originals. So I think this is the second one, I want to say. Second book in the series. It was fine. I don't know. It just wasn't for me as much as her other books. I just couldn't really get into it. She lives in an apartment, and her like nemesis ends up moving in next door. And it just, I don't know. There was parts that happened, like her ex-boyfriend is abusive and ends up moving into the building as well. And so she's like terrified of him. And the ending went too quick. Up until the ending went very slow. And then the ending was just like, whoop, here you go. And then it was over. And it was like, what? So the beginning could have been quicker, and the ending could have gone a little bit slower. 498 pages. 498. Whoops. 11, 12, 13. We're like halfway, guys. Getting there. Let's see. Don't let me fall. Oh, I also didn't do the pages for that. Come on, Lisa. Get it together. This one, I saw a snippet, like a page off of, like on Instagram. And I was like, heck yes, this looks freaking amazing. Sign me up. It was not amazing. It was not that amazing, actually. 364. Yeah, it wasn't that good. I don't know. That one page that I liked ended up unfolding a completely different way. That I wasn't a fan of. It wasn't as intense and like drama filled as I was looking for. So yeah, it was an okay romance for me. I have a lot of 3-star reads this year and 2 stars. Oof. Okay. Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone. You guys don't need me to tell you about that book, I'm sure. It's like my 10th reread. It's, you know, it is what it is. Let's add the pages. 360. Okay, and that was, so 14, 15, and 16. And then I read the Quit List. Let's see. What was this one? Oh, Katie Bailey. I've read a couple of her books that I have enjoyed. But I remember not enjoying this one as much. Let's see. Just another kind of romance book for me. I don't know why. They're not giving me anything in the story. Stay invested in the story. This was sweet and mad at some, and had some good moments, but I could have put it down and walked away. So, yes, that's what it was. Okay. So she wants to fall in love, and she wants things to be specific though. She likes to go to restaurants where she knows what to order. She doesn't want, all the fuss. She wants to know what parking's like, things like that. Well, she goes to his bar for all of these dates. And at one point, he ends up saving her from this terrible date. So he's like, hey, let me give you dating advice. Well, she asks for it, but it's like he starts giving her dating advice. They end up becoming like best friends, falling in love, all of that. I mean, it wasn't bad, but there wasn't anything like captivating for me either. And then we have Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Again, I've read it a couple times. It is what it is, you guys. I was going to Universal and I was like, hey, let's see how many of these I can read. So I read a bunch of them. 3. I've read 3 of them this year. But Beachy Keen. Ugh. This was another. Romance hasn't really been doing it for me this year. There's only been a couple that I'm like, hey, this is awesome. But for the most part, it was like, no. So she owns, her parents died in a boating accident. And so her uncle has raised her most of her life, and they're running an inn together. Well, the guy that she liked as a teenager and like a younger person, his family is rich and successful, and she actually cleans their house as like a side gig. Well, he comes back into town and they fight and bicker, and then he offers her a job because her uncle is having financial trouble because he was sick. And so he offers her a job, pays her way too much. Love, romance. But it just, the writing wasn't for me, I think is what it was. Yeah. It was a dual point perspective, which I always enjoy those. Those are like my go-tos. But yeah, it just wasn't really my thing. Oh, now we're getting into all the ones where I really didn't do reviews on yet. Yeah. We're almost done though, guys. Look at that. 18, 19. I need stickers for this. Because, oops. Okay. Paradise Problem. What? I read a couple of theirs this year. I want to say all these, sorry guys, these bookses. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. I just have to read like a tiny bit of the synopsis and then I'm there. So, Paradise Problem. The main two characters, dual perspective, they end up pretending to be married so they can get cheap housing for college. And then he graduates, goes off, and they're like, hey, divorce. Well, come to find out, she didn't sign the correct papers or didn't sign the papers. They're still technically married. So, and he's been lying to his family the whole time saying that he's married. So he recruits her or pays her. It's like, hey, I'll give you so much money. She's a starving artist, guys. He's like, I'll give you this much money if you will come to my sister's wedding and like be my date and spend a week at this like lavish resort with my family. And his family like sends him into panic attacks. He doesn't get along with them. It was really good. I really enjoyed this book a lot. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't write anything about it, but I did really enjoy it. To All the Boys I've Loved Before, this was also a reread. I didn't like it as much the second time around. I read this years ago when the movie first came out, but I didn't like the book this time around as much as I did last time. I think I'm older. There was parts where I was just angry. I was like, this is stupid. Teenagers are dumb. So that's where we were at. Yours truly, Abby Jimenez. However you pronounce her last name. I'm going to stop so I don't butcher it like any more than I already have. Oh, sorry. I was trying not to have like a huge ghosting or like shadow. Loved it. It was so good. I devoured this book in days. So I have to read more of her books. That's it. I just have to read more. So the two main characters are both doctors. Her brother is really sick and he is the new like resident and is going for a higher up position, and she really wants it, and so she thinks she has to like battle him out for this position. But yeah, they end up figuring out that they're not that bad of people. Like both of them are actually just doing their best. Yeah, and it's them like helping each other and falling in love, and her taking care of her brother, her little brother, and it was just so sweet. I cried reading this book a couple times because I have a brother, and I adore him. He is one of my favorite humans. So I don't know what I would do if my brother was like super sick and dying. So that's never going to happen. Don't worry, Joe. But yeah, so I super, super enjoyed it. So good. I will for sure read more of her books. Death on Tap was another Ellie Alexander book. This series is the main girl owns a bake shop. And then this one though is she works in a brewery. She's like knows all the beer stuff. So I did read it on my Kindle again. I did like it. It didn't make me as tired. It kept me a little bit more interested. But yeah, it was good. It's a sweet, cozy mystery. her husband cheats on her, and then he gets wrapped up. They think he's a killer in this murder, and that happened at her new work. So yeah, it was really good though. I enjoyed it. I really like her and her new boss. Garrett, I think is his name. But I really like their banter, and yeah, she has like a teenage son, and it was really cute. I do like that one. That series is good. And then I also read The Pint of No Return, which is book number 2 of that series. Oh yeah, book 1. So I must have liked it because I read the next one, right? So again, it's cozy mystery. This one, this one takes place in, this series takes place in Leavenworth, Washington. I live in Washington, and I love Leavenworth. So I was like, that's what got me. I think that's one of the reasons I enjoy it a little bit more, is because I can kind of picture the town. Because I've gone up there a couple times, which we're going for my birthday. I'm so excited. But yeah, it's a cute little like German, they make it look like a German town. And it's just during Christmas, it's spectacular. And this one starts in Death on Tap is Halloween. It's like all about like the Halloween festivities in fall, and Beertopia and all of that. And we're slowly moving. I think I've read the first 3. We're slowly moving into like Christmas, which is making me so happy. But yeah, so that one was also really good. I'm enjoying this series, and I'll probably continue this one. Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I've seen so many pictures of this book on the internet. I've seen so many people rave about it. I didn't like it. It was way too long for what it was. Like, this book could have been condensed so much. There were so many chapters that I was just like, this has nothing to do with anything. It's like filler pages is what it felt like. So yeah, if it was shorter, I think I would have liked it more. But it really just was not my thing. 2.5 stars wasn't it. 2.5 might have been given it more than it deserved. But Pumpkin Spice Cafe, didn't like that either. Ugh, Lori Gilmore. That book's been all over the internet too, and I just can't get with it. It was romance to its core. The whole thing was romance and mush and fluff. So much fluff. It just wasn't. And I was like, oh, maybe, I don't know. I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan. So I also think I read that after. Oh, maybe not. Oh, no, that one was. Okay, never mind. I thought I read it after Fourth Wing, but I did not. But yeah, I wasn't a fan, guys. I said it. Unpopular opinion, I'm sure. But there we have it. She gets the cafe from her aunt. I don't know if I said that. But she like gets the cafe from her aunt, falls in love with the farmer. People are trying to like, she thinks people are trying to like destroy her business and don't want her in the town, but she's also like running away from a past and all this. Also, these pages are all, you might notice the color difference. These pages are from the actual planner, and these pages are from, you could get like a stack of them, or like a notebook of them that you could peel off. And so they're a little bit more off colored, and they're not as thick. So I'm super bummed by that. But here we are. They were nice, like little pages though. The other night I sat down and like cut out all of these pictures. But yeah, it was okay. Fourth Wing was a third read for me. I've read it 3 times now. So good. 5 stars every time. I love this book so much. Yeah, I cannot rave enough about this book. I'm so excited for the third one to come out. I took the day off of work, you guys, because I'm like, hey, I need a whole day to devour this book. Well, no one's in my house. So that's my whole plan, is to just read all day when it comes out. But Fourth Wing, so good. If you have not read it, you need to. It's just dragons, hate, love, powers, conniving best friends. It's got so much goodness. And it's also like hilarious. There's so much banter in it, and like early 20s kids just being in their 20s. Like they're at a war college, but it's also them like making friends and bonding and cracking jokes at each other and just like being normal 20-year-olds at the same time. And I loved it. Ugh, so good. So good. I do like the first one more than the second one, and then I immediately read the second one again. So I've only read this one twice, but it's so good. I did enjoy it more the second time around though. And I'm not sure why that is, but I enjoyed it more. I love the first one the most, but it's still 5 stars. I did still really, really enjoy this. Yeah, I cried. I was a sobbing mess. So it breaks it into part 1 and part 2. And at the end of part 1, I was a sobbing mess. I'm trying not to give anything away if you haven't read the second one yet. But it was just like, it was so hard to get through like an interrogation that she had to go through. And I was just like, oh man, it was rough times. But yeah, so good. I cannot talk about it enough. Oh, I still need one more. Oh, that's because I just finished this one. Okay, Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. This is book 3 in that cozy mystery. Someone running for mayor dies, and they think it's one of the townspeople, and so she has to like figure out who done it. You're also learning more about her. She grew up in the system, and so you're starting to learn more about that, and she's started looking for her parents and like who her parents were, and so you're starting to get more of her backstory, and which is also like its own kind of mystery aside from all these like murders that seem to happen every few weeks. But yeah, I am really enjoying it. This one I listened to on audio though. So I got through it way quicker because I wasn't half asleep as I was reading it. But I did really, really enjoy this. Yeah, I gave it 3.5 again. But yeah, and then we read, this was only supposed to be 2, but I messed up. And I was just excited about coloring things in. So I don't think I have a white pen over here though. Darn. I was hoping I did. So Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. I was like, hey, I just read. This one's almost 900 pages and this one's over 600. So I was like, hey, I read like 15 to 1600 pages. I need a break. My brain is like dying right now. That's not gonna work. I was like, I need something fluffy and adorable. So, Spookily Yours. It's the first in the series. A witch adopts a cat. The cat ends up being a demon. She gets the cat back into his demon body. It's really short. It's only 246 pages. But it was not, I don't know. I didn't like the way it was written. It's a good premise. But unfortunately, I don't know if I've just gotten pickier over the years or what, but it was just not, oh no. It was, yeah, I didn't think it was very good. It wasn't what I was looking for in a book. So that was really a letdown. She said, oh, like he would say something and she would just go, oh. And then like have her own internal thoughts. And I was like, oh, what? What are we owing about? Like, can we give him more of a response than one, like 2 words? And it, yeah. The sex scenes were super graphic, which is fine. But then it was like the rest of it was not as well written, which sounds so weird. But yeah, I didn't like it, guys. I'm so sorry. I thought it would be a nice, spooky middle ground book, and it just wasn't for me at all. So yeah. I'm currently, what am I listening to? I'm listening to Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. And I'm also listening to Bright Ideas Bookstore, or the Bright Ideas Bookshop, something like that. And I'm not currently reading anything on my Kindle, but that's going to change today. So I'm reading a couple books. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this month. Crushing it. Last month I read 2 to 4 has been like kind of where I've been sitting. But yeah, this month I've read a lot, and we're just over, I guess we're almost to the end of the month. We have like a week and a half left, but I'm hopeful I can get down 1, maybe 2 more books, depending on how much time I dedicate it to it. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to all the things, all the books to read. So let me know if you've read any. Let me know your thoughts. I think next year for my book tracking, I'm going to be using one of Little Inklings Designs planners. They just went on pre-sale, so I did buy the horizontal. I was thinking of using that as my what do you call it? My journal, my creative journal. But then I also just bought the Maxi Life horizontal, so I'm a little torn on what to use for my what do you call it? My journal. So yeah, let me know what you're using. I'll keep you posted as my brain continues to turn and I receive packages in the mail. But yeah, let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you've read any of these books that I talked about, what your thoughts might have been, if you're interested in any of these books. Yeah, just let me know. And thanks so much for hanging out with me, you guys. I always appreciate it.